Halloween night, 2017. Police knock on the door of a tiny apartment in Zama, Japan. The man who answers looks ordinary enough, soft-spoken, almost harmless. They ask about a missing young woman, and he doesn't even flinch. Instead, he calmly nods toward a cooler sitting just inside his room. "She's in there," he says. When officers lift the lid, they find a human head staring back at them, and scattered across the apartment. More boxes, more coolers, all hiding the same horrifying truth. What looked like a modest, quiet apartment was in fact a slaughterhouse, home to one of Japan's most infamous modern killers. That man was Takahiro Shiraishi, later branded the Twitter Killer. Born in 1990 in the city of Zama, he grew up in a perfectly average household with his parents and younger sister. Teachers remembered him as polite but forgettable. Classmates said he wasn't brilliant, wasn't a troublemaker, just a quiet kid who blended in with the background. But there were hints. For fun, he and his friends sometimes choked each other until they almost blacked out. Just goofing around, they'd say. But disturbing even then. His parents' divorce during his teenage years seemed to hit him harder than most, leaving him withdrawn. After high school, he drifted through ordinary jobs, supermarkets, pachinko parlors, until he made a sharp turn into Tokyo's underworld. There, in Kabukicho, the red light district controlled by the Yakuza, he became a scout, tricking vulnerable women into sex work. People who knew him during this time described two sides: a strangely gentle man fascinated by death, and a cold, ambitious manipulator willing to betray anyone for gain. By 2017, Takahiro was back home in Zama, living with his father after a suspended sentence for his trafficking work. But his fascination with death only deepened. "I don't know why I'm alive," he once told his father. In August that year, claiming he'd met the love of his life, he convinced his dad to co-sign on a tiny apartment. It was less than a mile from where he grew up, but inside it would become something unrecognizable. Alone in that small, silent room, Takahiro turned to the internet. In September, he created a Twitter account under the name Hanging Pro, complete with an anime-style picture of a man with scars and a noose. His bio read, "I want to help those who are having a hard time. DM me." His pinned post, a sympathetic message about bullying, depression and suicides, and a carefully crafted bait. To anyone in pain, it looked like an offer of comfort. To Shiraishi, it was a net to catch his prey. The account was convincing. He retweeted cute pictures of dogs and cats, mixed with posts about self-harm. On the surface, it could have been just another troubled soul reaching out online, maybe even a friend to those struggling. But hidden beneath that facade was a predator. Among the people who noticed him was Aiko Tamura, a 23-year-old still grieving the recent death of her mother. Lonely, devastated, and spiraling, she messaged Hanging Pro about forming a suicide pact. A month later, in October, she vanished. Her brother knew something was wrong. Desperate, he broke into her Twitter account and found private messages with Shiraishi. That discovery turned worry into sheer panic. The name Hanging Pro suddenly wasn't just another anonymous online handle, it was the last person Aiko had ever spoken to. Her brother ran to the police with the evidence. Investigators soon uncovered CCTV footage from October 23rd, showing Aiko walking beside a young man toward a quiet apartment building. She was never seen again. As the search for Aiko intensified, another woman came forward. She'd also met Hanging Pro in person, but had only gone on a walk with him. Now, with police guidance, she agreed to set a trap, meeting him again, this time at his apartment. Halloween night, in a city full of masks and costumes, the real monster was walking free with nothing to hide. Police staked out the scene, waiting for the right moment. When the woman entered Takahiro's apartment, officers moved in quickly. What they discovered behind the door would change everything. Inside the cramped one-room apartment, the stench was overwhelming. Coolers, boxes, and bags filled the space, stacked in corners and hidden under blankets. Opening them revealed heads, limbs, and bones. 9 victims in total. Neighbors had complained of foul smells for weeks, but never imagined something like this. At first, Shiraishi's defense team tried a bizarre argument. These weren't murders, but assisted suicides. They claimed he had only helped people who already wanted to die. But Takahiro himself broke that illusion. In interrogation, he admitted bluntly, none of the victims wanted to die when it came down to it. He killed them because he wanted to, for money and for sex. His methods were disturbingly efficient.
9 dismembered bodies were discovered by Japanese police in an apartment near Tokyo. Police say the 27-year-old who lived there, Takahiro Shiraishi, confessed to mutilating the bodies of 8 women and 1 man and hiding them in coolers. Some of the remains were covered with cat litter, according to a police spokesperson. Neighbors said that they had noticed foul smells emanating from the apartment but did not report them. Police believe a missing 23-year-old woman, who had reportedly messaged Shiraishi on Twitter seeking a suicide pact, is among the bodies.
He lured vulnerable people online, promised them understanding, then invited them over. He drugged them with alcohol, sleeping pills, or tranquilizers. When they were unconscious, he strangled them. Then, methodically, he dismembered their bodies. The first victim took him 3 days to cut apart. By the last, he could finish in a single night. He kept bones and body parts in coolers, while dumping flesh and organs in the trash, masked with kitty litter. In just 2 months, he killed 9 people, 8 women and 1 man, who had made the mistake of confronting him about his missing girlfriend. One victim was only 15 years old. For neighbours, the horror was in hindsight. The always-on bathroom fan, the constant trash bags, the strange smell nobody wanted to question. When brought to trial, Takahiro didn't bother denying anything. He told investigators, "Everything the police say is true. I did it all. Psychologists examined him for months but concluded he was fully sane. He knew exactly what he was doing. The jury agreed, sentencing him to death by hanging, Japan's ultimate punishment."
A man has been sentenced to death in Japan for the murders of 9 people in 2017, ending a case that grabbed local headlines as the Twitter killer. 30-year-old Takahiro Shiraishi was found guilty of murdering, dismembering, and storing the bodies of the victims in his apartment outside Tokyo. According to the GG news agency, the prosecution said Shiraishi first contacted the 9 on Twitter after they expressed suicidal thoughts. The agency also says he used a handle that loosely translates to hangman, and that Shiraishi invited the victims to his home, promising to help them die. Kyodo News reported that his defense lawyers argued he killed the victims with their approval. The judge ruled the victims did not consent to being killed, and that Shiraishi was mentally fit to be held responsible for their murders. One juror in the case spoke to the media on Wednesday.
When I listened to his testimony, it made me imagine the killings he committed inside my head. Sometimes I remembered the savage ways he committed the murders at night, so it was a bit of a burden on me.
According to Japanese media, Shiraishi said before the trial that even if he was handed the death penalty, he would not appeal. In Japan, the death penalty is carried out by hanging, with the execution dates not made public until after it happens.
Even then, he showed almost no remorse. He admitted he felt sorry for a few victims, but quickly added that his real regret was simply getting caught. If not for the sting operation, he said, he would still be killing. While he was sitting on death row, incredibly, he receives fan mail and even talked about wanting to marry. A monster disguised as an ordinary man, one who preyed on society's most vulnerable, offering them false compassion only to drag them into his web. His victims sought hope, but instead they found him. He was hanged on June 27, 2025.